Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today with us we have Fedora Linux, but this is the KDE version. As you can see over here, this is, I think a lot of people prefer this to GNOME. You can battle me down in the comment section if you want to, but without further delay, we're gonna go ahead and explore Fedora Linux 42. So without wasting further time, let's just dive right in. Alright, welcome to Fedora Linux, and once you boot your live image, you're going to be greeted with this screen. You're going to get the option to install the operating system. We're going to go ahead and check out the installer that's over here, and it says welcome. The operating system is running Plasma. This is running Plasma 6.4.4 to be very specific, and then it also, gives you a very brief tour. So it says that Plasma is designed to be simple and usable out of the box. So it gives you the options. So if you hover over the panels, it's going to show you this is a panel. This is the task manager widget. And so this entire section, this is the application launcher. These would be your system tray widgets. So you have volume, brightness, internet connection. So you can see over here you do get these, and I'm speaking into the microphone, so this is, you can see the live feedback in the audio section over there, and this is the disks and devices. Since my live boot is running in this virtual machine, so it says that this is a disk, and then again you have your network connections, and then you do get your calendar over here as well, and you can sort it by days, months, years, or you can change it however you want to. So that's pretty good. And then if you click next, it does say that you do get a lot of extremely powerful things. So for example, overview would be your system command center. So this is the overview. You can swipe up, you can press the W keyword to get this. So these are your different workspaces. So you can add another workspace, you can switch in between them. That is excellent. And then, for example, you can also press the Windows plus G button for the grid view. So this is really good. And by the way, I am running this inside a virtual machine. If that wasn't clear, even then the animations are nearly perfect. They're not 60 FPS or something, and they are getting a software rendering instead of hardware rendering. But then again, this is absolutely beautiful. Okay, then you got KRunner, so you can search for anything using KRunner. For example, if you press Alt plus Spacebar, so on Mac OS that would be something like Command plus Spacebar, and you get Spotlight, and you can search for anything, for example, 200 USD to INR, and it would show you the current price. So that's pretty good. And then you do get KDE Connect. This is to connect your phone to your computer. You can send photos, you can have notifications, you can pick calls using your computer. You can do lots of things. Okay, then you also get activities, so you can have separate work, school, or home tasks like this. So that's pretty good. Now it shows you this is the Windows plus Q. So this is the default activity workspace, whatever you want to call it. You can create another activity. So within each activity, I guess you get different workspaces. So you have multiple spaces or workspaces inside each activity. You can just switch them at your will and you're good to go. You also get vaults, so you can store files securely. And of course, we are going to go into the system settings a little bit later, not right now. Okay, so continuing on with the tour, this is the panel that we talked about. We do get, since I created multiple workspaces, so you get these two different things, and then you have the application launcher where everything is beautifully categorized into like all applications. So this is alphabetically ordered, and then you do get things under development, education, games, graphics, help, and whatever. And you get all of these things. You do get the standard stuff like Draw, Impress, Math, LibreOffice Writer. So this would be your Microsoft Word, Ocular. This would be the Universal Document Viewer. I really love how they describe everything. And then you get systems. You do get Discover, which is your software center, Dolphin File Manager, Fedora Media Writer, Firewall. Everything is there. And then you do get Places. So it shows you applications, and then history, history is over here. For example, I opened Firefox, so that's there. And then frequently used, frequently used also is Firefox because I opened up 2 tabs in there. And then you do get places, so home, desktop, documents, all your usual stuff. And then you do get sleep, restart, shutdown session, which are really, really standard stuff. Okay, Plasma is incredible. Okay, so what I am gonna do is I'm gonna show you the editing options in the panel. So for example, you can right click the panel, go to panel configuration, and then it'll give you option to set the position. So you can set it to left. This is the right position, and you can have it at the bottom, which is what I prefer. And then it would also ask you to remove, configure, or show alternatives. So that's pretty good. Alignment, you can change it from center, left to right, and it shows you with the little icon changes that what it's going to be like. And then you have full width, fit content, and custom. If I do fit content, it's going to shrink. I don't really like this look, to be very honest with you. I'm going to keep it at full width. Okay, and visibility, I'm going to keep it as always visible. You can also make it so where it auto hides, so it will auto hide like the name suggests. You can dodge windows, so for example, if you have a window over it, it's going to hide. And then you can also keep the window goes below. So for example, if you full screen or maximize the, not full screen, if you maximize the app, the panel is going to be there, but the bottom part of the window is going to go under the panel. Okay, so let's keep it at always visible. I really love this. And then this is also set to adaptive for the opacity. Okay, now let me demonstrate this. So I'm going to exit the edit mode. For example, if I full screen or maximize this, as you can see, it becomes opaque. It's no longer transparent, and it also becomes attached, if you will, to the corners, and it's not so much more of a floating dock. If I minimize this, you're going to notice that change right away. Okay, and you also get floating panel and applets. You can disable them. You can have it to applets only, or panel and applets like it is right now. You can change the panel height. You can delete panel, clone the panel, or finally exit the edit mode. Okay, and you also get other things. So for example, you do have add or manage widgets, add panel, manage desktop and panels right over here, and you can do whatever you like. This is, you can make changes to your heart's content. So this is the default alternative menu, right click menu, whatever you say it, I forget the exact term, and you can open the terminal. So for example, if I just go ahead and type in uname A, it's going to show you the latest kernel. So this is the 6.17 kernel, and by the way, the ISO I am using is the release candidate 1.3 for the beta. It should be very, very, very close to the beta release, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. Of course, you are going to download the official beta and then download the public release when that comes out, so it doesn't really matter. But as far as the video is concerned, it does not matter a single bit. Okay, now what I want to do is go ahead and try to install Fedora Linux. So we're gonna go ahead and click on install to hard drive. Okay, so we are in the installer for Fedora Linux 43. I did have to close the installer and restart it. That's okay, it's software, so no biggie. You do get the language, English US for the keyboard. Click on next. You get your date and time, so you can automatically set date and time using time servers. You can configure your NTP servers. You can have it to show AM PM, or I guess this would make it a 24-hour clock, and then you can also automatically set your time zone. You click on next, and it gives you the installation method. So this is the new installer, if you couldn't tell, and it will ask you if you want to change the destination. Right now we do have only the virtual block device, which is the 21.5 gigabyte drive that is allocated to this virtual machine. So if you had more partitions or drives, you could just rescan the devices and it would show them up over here. You can select it, click on select, and then use the entire disk. Remove all partitions on the selected devices, including existing operating systems. So suffice to say, this is going to completely erase whatever is there on the disk and then install your operating system. And then you could also go ahead and encrypt your data. We're not going to do it right now, but if you were to, you could just select your passphrase and then confirm it. It must be 6 characters, and you have to remember this. This is really important. If you are encrypting, don't forget this password or passphrase. we're not going to go ahead because this is only for demo purposes. So I'm just going to go ahead and now we can create an account. Obviously you can just enter your full name and give your username as well. And then you get your passphrases, for example. I mean, I'm tired of, okay, so it doesn't even allow you to enter a 4-letter password. Same with the passphrase for the encryption. And then you can also enable root account. So you will have another set of passwords that you want to remember, and it says it's weak, we don't really care. And then finally it will tell you to install. And so now you can go ahead and erase data and install the operating system. Understandably, we're not going to do that, so we're going to hit quit and we're not going to continue the installation, and we can continue on with the tour of our Linux desktop. Oh, by the way, so so this is like macOS, where the more you move your cursor, the bigger it gets. I don't think it gets bigger the more you move on macOS, but it does get big. But on KDE Plasma, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, which I think is a really nice touch. And this is, I think, a better implementation than that of macOS. Anyway, let's wait for the cursor to shrink down. Okay, and we're back to Fedora Linux 43 beta. So this was just announced like a couple of hours ago. Sorry, I got a bit late trying to make the video. So how to get the beta release, you all know this, right? I mean, I'm going to put the links to this in the description below the like button, wink wink, so you can go ahead and choose whatever option you want to. So let's talk about some of the beta highlights, okay? So we do get a new Anaconda web UI for Fedora spins by default. So this is actually really good for consistency. It even says that this creates a consistent and modern installation experience across all the Fedora desktop variants, which it should have been. It brings us closer to eventually replacing the old GTK installer. That's good. This ensures that all Fedora users can benefit from the same polished and user-friendly interface. Excellent. Now, they also switched the Anaconda installer to DNF5. So this change provides better support and debugging for package-based applications within Anaconda, and it is a bigger step towards the eventual deprecation of DNF4, which I guess is getting a bit long in the tooth for a lot of people right now. And then you do also get auto updates enabled by default in Fedora KDE. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this change ensures that users are consistently running a system with the latest bug fixes and features after a simple reboot. And you can also set the default monospace fallback font. So this change ensures that when a specific monospace font is missing, a consistent fallback font is used and that it's available. Font selection also remains stable and predictable, even when the user installs new font packages. No jarring font changes should occur as appeared in previous versions. So that is excellent. You do get a ton of system updates as well. So for example, the GNU toolchain update. So this ensures Fedora stays current with the latest features, improvements, and bug fixes and security fixes from the upstream GCC, glibc, binutils, and GDB projects. Binutils, sorry. You also get package-specific RPM macros for build flags. So this change provides a consistent and standard way for packages to add to the default list of compiler flags. It also offers a cleaner and simpler method for package maintainers to make a per package adjustment to build flags. And you can also build the Fedora core OS using the container file. So this change brings the FCOS build process under a standard container image build, moving away from the custom tool core OS assembler. And it also has a few upgrades and removals. For example, it deprecates the gold linker, it retires Python nose, it retires all of these things, and you do get the updated Python 3.14 in stack in Fedora 43. You also get Golang 1.25, Idris 2, and a ton of other things. If you really want to go and dive into the details of what's available, you can just check out their change set page and you will have everything mentioned in that page. It's going to be a huge list and it's not a video material. If you want it, you can just go ahead and read it. And I don't think this page is going to open up. All right, it did. So as you can see by the size of the scroll bar, it's a pretty big page and there are a lot of things. For example, Java 25, this is the OpenJDK that's available by default, RPM 6, migrate to last log 2. So, and then you do get a lot of newer things in Fedora 43. Okay, so now that we're done with that, let's just talk about the UI and the experience of what it's like to use KDE Plasma. So let's move on to the new changes this time around. So, I mean, if you want to, you can donate that's a really good thing to do. If you really have the means, please go ahead and donate. So you do get the new spectacle as well. So let's just check that out. Search this. And no, not search, you can like select a portion, and then you do get the options to edit, you do get the options to save, make a copy, whatever you want to. And it also shows you a little magnifier so that you can be very precise with your selection. You don't want to include the globe, you just want to include this. And then again, you can see this is really handy. In KRunner, so enter a color code in any annotation and let KRunner show you what it looks like. So this is very handy for someone like a graphic designer or a person working with a lot of different colors. As you can see, window management, Plasma already offered you virtual desktops so that they don't overlap, and now they do have custom tiles, so you can stick windows to, and they won't overlap, allowing you to see everything important at a glance. So you can place tile apps, 2 on either side and the other 2 floating in the middle, so that's extremely powerful. And then accessibility, if this is a top priority for KDE, this should be a top priority for anybody. So they do bring in some new accessibility features this time around. You can now move the pointer using your keyboard's number pad keys, or use a 3-finger touchpad pinch gesture to zoom in or out. This is amazing. And then in addition, there also have been a great deal of subtle but important work. So, I mean, if you keep digging in the operating system, you're gonna find it. Like, they have improvements to keyboard navigation, system screen reader usability, and text readability. And like I said, they also have a UI and visual design overhaul. So for example, they have made their Breeze theme a little bit darker. So this subtle change helps the elements to pop just a little bit. Plasma 6.4 also darkens the background of the desktop or window when an authentication dialog shows up. This is very helpful because it will just allow you to focus on the on entering the password and not get distracted by all the other elements around you. Okay, so notifications are also overhauled. So the file transfer notification now shows a speed graph, which I think is excellent and very much needed, giving you a more visual idea of how fast the transfer is going and how long it's going to take to complete. So you also, when you get notified that updates are available, you can now install them directly from the notification. You don't have to go into the Update Center, which I believe is coupled with the Discover Software Center. That's what they call it here. So when any applications are in full screen mode, like when you're playing a game, working on a critical project, or watching a video, Plasma will automatically enter Do Not Disturb mode and only show urgent notifications. When you exit the full screen mode, you will see a summary of any notification that you might have missed, and they will be right there in the system tray. And finally, notifications with interactive buttons will still show them in the history view. So that's extremely good. Now you do also get tons of widgets. Widgets are the building blocks of Plasma, which is a very real thing. They can launch programs, track the weather, set alarms, tell you when you have updates, check the battery life of, for example, your headphones and stuff. It's just amazing. So they now also have a new feature in the application launcher, which will place a green new tag next to newly installed apps, so you can easily find where something you might have installed lives in the menu. So for example, you can see we do get a new icon next to AudioTube, next to Haruna and KDE Live, or KDE Live, however you might want to pronounce that. This tag disappears after 3 days or after you run the app for the first time. So you have 3 days of amnesia to remember which app you installed, I guess. That's a very handy thing. And now the media player widget now allows you to slow down or speed up whatever audio or video you're currently playing. And the disk and devices widget, used to access internal and removable disks, now checks and even offers to repair your disks if it finds errors in them. Now you do have improvements for digital artists as well. So for example, if you have a drawing tablet attached, you can go to the pen, you can select pen button 1, 2, pen pressure, the curvature for the pen pressure, and then the pressure range, and you can also calibrate. And if you ever make any mistake, there is a handy dandy reset button, which is ever so useful, and I think overall is just a much better approach for digital artists on Linux. Raise your hand if you are one. And when you aren't making art, you can still continue to use your tablet, since Plasma now supports a relative mode, which makes the stylus behave much more like a regular mouse. So this is extremely important. And now you do get a few color management improvements. So display and monitor page and system settings comes with a brand new HDR calibration wizard in Plasma 6.4. And it can also do extended dynamic range, which is a different kind of HDR on the screens that's supported, obviously. And it also gives you a tool to limit the color depth. Again, you have to have a supported monitor for this to work. Now, Plasma also does support the P010 video color format, improving power efficiency with the HDR video content. I'm going to be totally honest with you, I don't have a ton of idea about this color space or color format, but if you have an HDR screen or if you are proficient in HDR, you might as well let us know. And then system monitoring, so this has had a little bit of an overhaul. So for example, it helps you stay on top of your system, okay? And the overview and history pages have been overhauled to show more information and be more generally useful. Let's go ahead and talk about the system settings and then the software center, and then you also get the file manager. You do have tons of things. So this is the file manager. This is Dolphin, pretty standard. This is extremely powerful, by the way. Don't get fooled if you haven't used KDE Plasma before. A basic panel to the left, a screen to the right, split view. You have tons of things over here, okay? This is very, very, very powerful. Everything in KDE land is extremely powerful, but it has an amazing habit of not getting in your way. It doesn't show you its power until you need it. And I absolutely love that about KDE Plasma. You do get the Discover Software Center. Again, not a whole lot to talk about. This is very, very standard stuff. You can update your system from here. So you have utility system, everything. You have updates. So it's currently fetching updates. We're not going to update. It does have settings. So it asks you from where you want to procure your software. You can add FlatHub, by the way. It does not have it as a default edition. So I think by default, it only takes the Flatpaks from the official Fedora repository. But if you add FlatHub, all of the other apps that are not whitelisted or included in the Fedora repository are going to be available. Now you do have to be a little bit more careful and check if the application is reliable, if the developer is a known developer and there aren't any fishy things in your app. But most apps, most commonly known apps are going to be fine, so you can just rest easy. And then it also comes up with a ton of other things as soon as I selected Fedora Flatpaks. And then it also, okay, so Fedora Flatpak, so this is from the Fedora project, and then this is from the FlatHub. So you do get both the options, okay? And then finally, coming to system settings. Now this is, I'm not gonna say it's a can of worms, it's a can of delightful Indian sweets that I currently don't have the time to go to, because I think this video has gone on for way too long, way longer than it should have been. But if you are interested, I like to make deep dive videos, and I think this is gonna help you guys. So we do have the basics, mouse and touchpad, keyboard, everything. I mean, things are extremely well and properly laid out over here. This is the display, so this is at 1920 by 1080, and the refresh rate is 75 Hertz. And I think Nightlight is not going to be available because we are inside a virtual machine. Or I don't know, maybe you can. Definitely my screen turned yellow right now. On GNOME, I specifically remember that Nightlight will be disabled if you are running it inside a VM. But I don't know if in the YouTube video it turned yellow as well, but on my screen I can definitely see it as yellow. So I'm gonna turn it back off because I don't really know and I don't want to mess the video up for you guys. And let's continue on with the tour. Now you do get a lot of things, but I think the most interesting part is the wallpaper section. So we do have a few new wallpapers. I mean, the default Fedora one should be the best one, but you do have other things. I think I've seen all of these before. Do we have a few new ones? Evening Glow, Fedora 43 says it right there. Flying Conky, Gray, Ice Cold. I think I've seen all of these. Yeah, I think I have seen all of these. So, I mean, I guess I could choose one for making the video thumbnail, and maybe this will be a good choice. But yeah, I think I'm not going to keep you guys for much longer. You do also get color and theme. So this is the Fedora customized look of the Breeze themes. You can change it to Breeze. I'm not going to apply Breeze dark, so everything looks good in dark mode. Let's just try it out for 1 second. And I think it looks fantastic. Let's open File Manager, and it looks pretty good. Now you can snap, so that's pretty good. You can tile, just like Microsoft Windows. I think this is a fantastic piece of software for doing whatever you want to. So I think with that, we come to the end of the video, guys. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but I don't think it's necessary to. So we're going to stop here, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.